Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Neil C. Hughes, and today we're diving headfirst into another intriguing conversation around the rise of knowledge entrepreneurship. Because as we all know, millions of people are leaving traditional employment to start their own ventures. And in the old days, the risk of business failure and the struggle to turn a profit meant that journey was incredibly daunting. But this is where today's guest comes into the picture. I'm thrilled to welcome back Ahad Khan, the CEO of Kajabi, on the podcast, which is a platform that revolutionises the way people build, market and sell educational content. Ultimately, Kajabi serves as a comprehensive platform for creators and knowledge entrepreneurs by simply allowing them to monetize their expertise without significant risks or investment. And today we'll discuss the story behind Kajabi, helping individuals and businesses leverage their skills and knowledge. In particular, we'll hear stories like Dr. Jamie Wilkey, who earned $230,000 in 2021 on Kajabi by teaching pharmacists to use personalised medicine. And that's just one of many stories. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to California so you can join me and Ahad in an inspiring conversation about entrepreneurship, tech innovation and the future of work. But enough from me. Let's get Ahad on the show now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me. My name is Ahad Khan, and I'm the CEO of Kajabi, a creator commerce platform based in Southern California.
Fantastic. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast today. And before we learn more about your success, I always like to learn more about how my guests got where they are today. So I've got to ask you, how did you get here, or what is your origin story? Where did your passion for tech come from? What lit the spark? And ultimately just tell the listeners a little bit more about the moment that might have put you on the path you're on today.
Absolutely. So I'm originally from the Midwest, so in the States. So grew up in Ohio, Northeast Ohio. And born and raised there. When I say that, it's more about my approach to life than anything. People there are traditionally very positive, very kind, and I grew up in that type of environment. I went to college in the Midwest as well. I studied engineering, undergrad and graduate school. And that's probably where I first got into technology, just as an entire experience focused on mathematics, science, technology, engineering. And so that was a great exposure early into what this role could enable. After I graduated, I worked in finance for a while. So I was a banker. I actually lived abroad. So I was in London for a couple of years, lived in Chicago as well, and eventually moved west to join an investment firm that focused on technology growth equity investment. And that was the first time I really, I would say, spent most of my working hours focused on tech. And this is in the 2000s. We're actually right around the Great Recession, the Great Recession. And I was at a firm called Spectrum Equity Investors. They invested in really interesting businesses, things like SurveyMonkey or Ancestry.com, like very well-known businesses, but actually helped them get to become well-known versus invested in them when they were well-known. And that really sparked my interest in becoming an operator, finding opportunities to build companies versus just invest. And so after I left Spectrum, I joined a series of startups in the Bay Area. So I always like to joke, I did about 4 startups. 2 were abject failures. 1 was okay and 1 was pretty good. And if I'm batting like 25, 30%, that's extraordinary for startups in the Bay Area. And the most recent one before Kajabi was a company called MileIQ, which did mileage tracking for expense reimbursement and tax deduction. It doesn't sound like the sexiest business, but it actually was a fantastic business. We were lucky enough to be acquired by Microsoft, and I spent about 3 years in Microsoft before I joined Kajabi off the back of an investment from a private equity firm into the company about 9 years into its tenure. So that's my quick origin story and how I landed at Kajabi.
Wow, love it. What a great story. And of course, that path would lead you to become the CEO of Kajabi, which is an all-in-one platform for knowledge entrepreneurs and creators to help them build, market and sell educational content. But for anyone that is listening and hearing about you guys for the first time, can you give the listeners a bit of an overview of the kind of problems that you solve, and also what makes you different from other solutions out there?
Oh, absolutely. So you hit it on the head. We are what we call like a creator commerce platform. And what we mean by that is we provide creators with products and services that helps them monetize their experience, expertise, and knowledge. And it starts with what we call knowledge products. So think about membership sites, communities, podcasts, newsletters, courses. These are ways for our creators to build products that they can sell digitally, where they transfer their knowledge, experience, and expertise to audiences that they own and develop themselves. We also provide the apparatus around those products to build an actual sustainable online business. And what we mean by that is that we have the ability to build your website on Kajabi. You can have your CRM on Kajabi. So that enables you to interact directly with your audiences. We also have business analytics and a payments product that lets you collect revenue from your audiences as well. So when you monetize, all these things are in your control. And we talk about it like they're in your experience. So you control the experience, the brand, and the monetization of the entire ecosystem, which is very different than a lot of the other ways people make money in the creator economy. And again, for us, the big differentiator is that we combine what is traditionally a very fragmented software base into one. So from that perspective, it's much more easily navigable, meaning you don't have to go to 4, 5, 6 different tools online to kind of build your business. You can do it all from one place. All of our different modules play really well with one another. So the design is meant to be one person interacting with their business holistically. And that all-in-one nature actually also is cheaper than if you add all those different tools together as well. So we believe that we have a better user experience and a better pricing model for our creators who want to build real sustainable businesses online.
Oh, absolutely love it. It's incredibly cool what you're doing here and the opportunities that you're creating. And I must admit, I've been reading a lot about the Great Resignation, about people leaving their day jobs behind. But I must admit, when I did this over 5 years ago now, I built a side gig to make sure it worked before leaving the corporate world behind. And I'm curious, can you tell me more about how you help people keep their day jobs and monetize their expertise without significant risk or time or capital expenditure? Because I think that is the thing that puts people off. And I remember people commenting to me when I was going through the same journey, but you don't have to have all your eggs in one basket and just leave the day job behind on day one. You can build it on the side, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. So, it's funny. We don't have like a strong archetype in terms of the type of creators that we can bring to our platform. Yeah. We have people who are migrating over from different platforms with big businesses and big audiences who just choose Kajabi because they know it's the best place to build their business and scale it. We have a lot of people who come to us earlier on, and to your point, are just thinking about an idea. They have an idea that they want to pursue. They want to build it on the side. And this is what, frankly, digital commerce is all about. Like, you can build a Kajabi site literally from anywhere at any time. You can build your products anywhere from any time. So a lot of our creators actually do it part-time, even in perpetuity, because they have a passion that they want to do. They want to teach people how to play the guitar, but they can't do that full-time yet. They just do this as a part-time opportunity and part-time business because it fulfills their passion. And yes, they monetize it, but they're not trying to do it full-time for whatever reason. So we actually have a lot of people who do it part-time and are trying to earn their way into doing it full-time. A lot of people are just like, I just want to do this part-time because I love the passion part of it. And this is a part of my identity that I want to unleash. And then we have a lot of people who are scaled on the platform, right? So it really depends on what that individual's journey is. But there are numerous examples of people who love doing this on the side and then realize there's a bigger market than they actually anticipated when they started, and are able to actually transition into from a part-time gig to a full-time gig over time. And I just think that's the nature of digital work. Like, you can just do it on your own time. You can do it on nights and weekends if you want. And that is, for us, that's a big differentiator. And I think even the COVID environment probably evangelized the ability to build this kind of business much easier than before, because people were tethered to their computers and they were just like, well, what else can I do? And we've just seen a huge influx of growth and change of mindset in terms of what these kind of platforms can enable since that time.
And if I was to ask you to take a look under the hood, can you tell me a bit more about the technology that makes everything you do possible? I appreciate you probably can't share too much of the secret sauce, but is there anything you can tell me about the kind of technologies that you're leveraging here?
Yeah, I mean, the way we develop the language, we're a Ruby on Rails shop from a technology perspective. Yeah. And the way we build the product is, it's kind of like what I was saying before. It is meant to be one SaaS platform that feels like everything plays very well together, right? So we're not trying to build different experiences for different parts of your business. If you want to be able to go from payments to your products, it should happen flawlessly. You want to be able to attach a price to your community, it'll happen flawlessly within the app. So all these things play really well with one another. So we have a strong focus on interoperability and UI and UX design to enable an experience for our creators, which we always think about just reduces the administrative burden of building these businesses, right? The more time we can save for our creators in terms of having a fantastic design and like putting less of the burden on them to like spend time in software and giving them more time to build content and build products, that's kind of our North Star from a product perspective. So because we have a very horizontal application, we spend a lot of time making sure everything plays really well together, is developed in a similar way, has a very similar UI and UX, and really just reduces that feeling of, oh, I have to build software for these creators, and gives them more time to build the content that then they go monetize. And we, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but the ability for our creators to monetize on our platform is second to none. And we're really proud of that. We think the product enables a lot of that because they're not spending a lot of their time worried about how do I build this block for their website. We automate and make a lot of this stuff a lot easier than most people do.
And one of the things that put you guys on my radar was when I was reading about the story, I think it was Dr. Jamie Wilkey, and they earned $230,000 back in 2021 through her online class. And I think it taught pharmacists to use personalized medicine to change the trajectory of their careers. Inspirational story. But for anyone that missed it, can I ask you share that story?
Yeah, I think she joined us via a creator challenge. I'm trying to think of her exact story, but her story is honestly like one of many of ours, which are people who kind of come in and think about, hey, we have people who do that kind of teaching. We have people who teach salon owners how to run a salon, who originally started on Kajabi because they wanted to teach people how to do haircuts. Then they were like, hey, there's actually a business behind this. And they started proliferating the idea of how to build a business in an industry, built a brand for themselves, and then started teaching less about the end user dynamic and more, how do you build an industry or how do you build a business that's successful in these ecosystems? So her example is one, and there's plenty of those. And that's kind of the very interesting thing about Kajabi. We have a lot of people who teach other people how to scale their businesses within their niche ecosystems and markets. But they don't always come to us with that ambition in mind at first. And that transition, I think, is one of the things digital commerce enables you to do. And because you're not spending a lot of time and working capital on being like, I'm going to build a cupcake store that is brick and mortar. You're going to start being like, well, I'm going to teach people how to make cupcakes. And then you're like, wow, that's interesting. But I actually find a lot of people want to know how I built my business, and your ability to pivot again and again and again into markets that you want because all your goods are digital. That flexibility, your example that you just highlighted for us was fantastic, but that's a story that we've seen a lot of times before where people pivot their businesses over time into what they want to do, but also what the market is demanding. And digital goods and creators are able to do that a lot easier than physical good companies.
And just if we were to zoom out for a moment, I also read that you have helped over 60,000 creators who've made over $5 billion, reaching over 75 million people worldwide. It's just an incredible set of stats there. It must make you feel incredibly proud, but can you expand on that?
Yeah, 60,000 creators have reached about 75 million people in 140 different countries. I think 140 plus different countries, and have generated over $5.3 billion of creator revenue on the platform since inception, right? Like the average creator on our platform makes about $37,000 a year, right? If you think about the US, the average income in the US, I think is $45,000, maybe $50,000 a year. So we're hovering right around the average income in the US of the revenue or creator revenue we're able to power per creator on Kajabi already, let alone the growth that we have in front of us. And it truly is the best part of this entire journey. As a team, whenever we get together, we call our customers heroes because truly they inspire us to do what we do. And whenever we get together as a team, we always start with a hero story. Like we have an all hands tomorrow, and we start with like a 10, 15-minute interview with a customer of ours, learning their journey, why they chose Kajabi, what their business is about, where they're headed, what they love about Kajabi. Ideally, also some constructive criticism on Kajabi that helps us get better and better. But there's meant to inspire us as an organization to realize why we do what we do is because our creators' success is our success, right? When we talk about KPIs or metrics that matter to us as a business, we always start with creator revenue and understanding how they're doing. Because again, if our creators are building healthy businesses, Kajabi's building a healthy business. And it always orients us to think about, hey, it's not about us first ever. It's always about the creator first. And if we always build in that way, again, our success will be a trailing indicator because people find unbelievable success on Kajabi. We just had an event in Austin called Kajabi Hero Live about 2 weeks ago. And this is the first event we've had with our customers since pre-COVID. And, like about 700, 800 people got together in Austin. It was a pretty intimate affair. And it was absolutely exhilarating. Like we had people flying in from South Africa, from India, from all over Europe, from South America. All these heroes were descending onto Austin, one, to meet each other and kind of network and learn, but two, frankly, we had about 100 of some of our team fly out there so we could interact with our heroes and understand their stories. And really, like, it was emotional. There were like high fives and hugs, and there were tears of people whose lives were changed because of Kajabi. So the best thing about our business is while we've had tremendous financial success, mostly because of our creators and their success, the stories we're able to tell and the people we're able to meet and the lives we're able to change, that is an unbelievable mission and purpose for an organization. And we try to celebrate that much as much as we can because it helps us get up in the morning, get really excited about what we're doing and continue to build for their success. So it's been an unbelievable journey and it makes your job a lot easier when you're able to celebrate. Like we had a 75-year-old woman who teaches knitting classes. Like she's a six-figure hero on the platform. And when you're able to power that kind of story where then she sends you an email where she's buying a new car in cash and she's giving her old car to her granddaughter and she's just like so thankful that Kajabi enabled that. That's a really cool organization to be a part of, to say the least.
It really is. And a quick look on the Kajabi website, you can see you make it easy for anyone to get involved with coaching, memberships, podcasts, so much different options there. So how does it work? Can you walk me through how somebody would get set up for, because I would imagine we've got people listening all over the world. We've set off a few light bulb moments. So how would they get set up and get the most out of the platform?
Yeah, I mean, we really believe if you have any kind of knowledge, experience, or expertise, Kajabi is for you. And what that means when you get set up is you sign up for a trial for Kajabi. We have a 14-day free trial for the product. So get your head around what the product enables. We have fantastic knowledge and training online. We have webinars. We have ways to educate people and our customers about what the potential of Kajabi is. But once you get in, our honest moniker is just get going. Like a lot of the times people get in, they try to make everything perfect. But for us, it's validate an idea, build a landing page, and see if you can drive traffic to a landing page and collect email addresses for people to see, hey, what you're putting out into the world, there's demand for it. And if there's demand for it, then we say, hey, build a product for that. So we can start all sorts of different ways. The easiest ways to start are probably like a membership site, which are, hey, I have content that people want access to. Essentially, you get it behind a membership, and that is for you to start developing revenue, but also for you to really get in touch with the audiences who are geared enough towards the content you're creating that they're willing to pay for that access, and start interacting with them on membership. Like, give them access to content you create, build a community, interact with them like in a community that you control, that you can, if you're an author, you can do a read along for the book that you just released, or do a Q&A with your audience so your fans can really understand who you are and what you're about. If you're a coach, we believe obviously building a coaching product and getting going is really easy. We have a hero of ours who teaches, who's a coach around mental fitness for youth sports. And he just got into Kajabi and was like, I'm just going to start a coaching product. And essentially all that is you require your customers to hop on a call with you via Kajabi and use our coaching product to deliver really good coaching advice. And that person was able to monetize almost instantaneously. They didn't have to build their website, didn't have to do anything. They just started getting going on the coaching product. Again, that's a really easy way to get going on the platform. So our entire goal as a business is to make it easy to get started, but for you is to validate the idea that you have and build an audience around that idea. Because if those two things exist, you're going to be successful in Kajabi. And we believe everybody has valuable knowledge, experience, and expertise. And so why we're so optimistic about the future is how do we evangelize this way of building an income, this way of building a business, but also this way of pursuing your passion. And so for us, it's via these products that we discussed and just kind of get going as you can get in. We've seen a lot of success that way.
And before you came on the episode today, I did have a quick look on the website. I could see things mentioned like AI Creator Hub on its way. So what's next? Where do you go from here?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like everybody, I think we understand the role that AI is going to play in the future, and we really believe in it, right? Yeah. I think our position for AI is it's more of an accelerant than a replacement. And what I mean by that is we're going to be betting at AI throughout our entire product. We have this AI Creator Hub. We have an in beta right now, AI Creator Studio. And all these products are in service of, again, getting our creators up and going faster by providing them with contextual prompts. Think about a course outline for people. Instead of having to look at a screen and seeing a cursor, we're able to ask you a couple of questions and provide an outline for your course within a minute, right? That accelerates that creator's journey in terms of building that content and turns them into more of an editor and gives them, again, more time to focus on building, like adjusting their messages to resonate with their audiences and building content as opposed to like building the sales funnels and the social media posts and all this stuff. If we can prompt you with that, with contextual AI, that just gives you more time to, again, go spend making sure the message resonates with your audiences and building the content for you to monetize. And so us leaning into AI is really to help our creators reduce the burden of content creation, which creates a lot of burnout in our industry, but also gives them more time to go focus on building their businesses and evangelizing what their knowledge, experience, or expertise is doing for the world. And so for AI, if you look at our Creator Studio, you look at Creator Hub, all these are in service of are accelerating people's businesses and ways to approach the market. Our Creator Studio, for example, it enables existing content you have to put it into different formats and distribute it into different ecosystems. Think about Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, places where we have an internal moniker that social media platforms are great places to build audiences, but bad places to build businesses. Mm-hmm. We know that audiences are built there, so we want to be able to repurpose a lot of the content that's already created, turn it into assets that can drive audience development, but then all of this at the end of the day, migrate those audiences back to your Kajabi site. And we think AI is going to play an accelerating role in enabling that kind of business and distribution and syndication to happen. And so we've been investing in this for about 2 years now. We're nice to see a lot of our product hit the market, which we actually think we're ahead of a lot of people, but we know this is going to be the future and a lot of people are trying to catch up with this foot forward.
Yeah, I think we're going to need to get you back on later in the year and learn more about these AI tools as they become more commonplace and see how you're leading the way there. But before I let you go, we began the podcast talking about your origin story. So as we come full circle, I'm going to ask if there's a song, piece of music, book, or anything that has inspired or helped you in your career. If you can share your choice and story behind it, we'll leave the listeners on an inspirational note. But all I'm going to ask is, what are you going to leave us with and why?
It's funny. There's a book I read early in my career. It's economic historian, a guy by the name of Neil Ferguson. He wrote a book called The Ascent of Money. And it's a book about kind of how the world works and entrepreneurship and where entrepreneurship can lead people, right? So it kind of talks about, it's a historical book, so it goes through history. But what it really told me is entrepreneurship can like change civilizations, can change the world. And so when I read that book, I was like, man, this is where you want to be spending time. You want to be spending time in the world of ideas, in the world of doers, in a world where people kind of don't just think, but they act. And so when I read that book, again, it's more of a historical nod, but it tells you a little bit about human nature. And it really inspired me to want to spend time in that kind of ecosystem and with those types of people. So when Kajabi came across my plate as an opportunity, I jumped at it, mostly because of that book. But it tells you the doers are the ones who kind of who make a dent on the universe. And that book really inspired me pretty early on in my career to take that approach. So I'd recommend that read for everybody if they have a chance.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. I'll get it added straight to our Amazon wish list. And for anyone listening, just wanting to find out more information about Kajabi, maybe dip their toes in the water, have a play, see if they can create something around their expertise. What's the best starting point for everything?
I think the first place is to go to our website, www.kajabi.com. I think it'll give you a great introduction into what the capabilities of the platform are. Like I said, sign up for a trial. It's a free trial. Check us out, kick the tires. We'd also encourage you to go to YouTube and type in Kajabi. We have fantastic partners and content there that some of it we develop, some of it is our customers who have developed. And it will give you really firsthand testimonials in terms of the power of the platform. And we encourage everybody to learn more about this because we believe this is the future of commerce. Like this is where brands are going to be built around creators, not companies the way it had been historically. And we're just at, the early innings of this this shift, and super excited to be at Kajabi, but I encourage everybody to go to kajabi.com and learn more about us, but also spend time researching us online. We have a lot of great content out there and a lot of success stories that we can tell you about, but the best part is our heroes tell you about their own success, and we're lucky enough to get credit for it by them. So that's when you know you're hitting a home run.
Well, I know so many podcasters, entrepreneurs, coaches, etc., looking for ways to easily create courses, create memberships, create communities, etc. So I will be checking it out myself and also asking a few of my friends to do the same. But more than anything, just a big thank you for coming on here, telling me the story behind this all-in-one platform for knowledge entrepreneurs to ultimately create, to build and market and sell educational content and understand the technology behind it all too. So thank you for sharing your story today.
Thanks, Neil, and looking forward to seeing you on Kajabi soon.
So a huge thank you to our guest, Ahad Khan, CEO of Kajabi, for not only joining us today, but sharing the inspiring story, mission, and success stories of people at Kajabi. And it's clear that Kajabi is paving the way for a new kind of entrepreneurship that just allows individuals, and by that I mean every single one of you listening, leverage your unique expertise, and in doing so, create a profitable online business. I think it offers a glimmer of hope and possibility to anybody seeking a different path in life. You may be stuck in a job that you don't like, working for a boss that you don't like, when you have a burning passion to do something else. And that expertise that you have, that you know more about than any of your other friends, maybe make a living out of it. So I hope this conversation sparked your curiosity, maybe even inspired you to explore new possibilities of monetizing your personal knowledge and skills. But let me know. Email me now, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, @Neil C. Hughes. I'd love to hear your stories, so keep them coming over. But that's it for today's episode. I invite you to join me again tomorrow, where we'll once again explore the cutting-edge tech and the leaders who are shaping our future. But just more than anything, just a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.